when I teach a manner in which that you're going to learn how to do this. It's going to be harder than you want it to be. It's going to take longer than you want it to take. But once you get through it, you never have to go through that ever again. It's like riding a bike. I don't even know the last time I got on a bicycle, but I'm quite fucking certain I can ride that bike. I can pretty much go anywhere I want to go in, okay, even in bad weather. So it's just like that. It's like knowing what it is that you're doing at your job, but your job's only going to pay you what your company is willing to pay you. But you have to go there every day the time they tell you to go there, and stay there as long as they tell you to stay there, or you don't maintain that gainful employment. If you go outside of the parameters, you lose the job. That means you lose the income. That's like blowing your account in trading. Well, in trading, you have to start the same way. You have to submit to the boss. That's you, your future trading self that knows what they're doing. If you had a time machine, you go back in time, your future successful self would be telling you what I'm telling you. Listen, this is going to suck. It's going to be boring. It's going to be a monotonous task. It's going to be mundane and redundant, and you're not going to make any money initially for months. But stick with it. Stick with it. And if you do, the experience that you garner from it, you glean all this positive self-talk, and you focus on the things that are beneficial to you, and you endure the things that are hardships and opportunities for you to learn better what you did wrong, but you don't vilify those moments. You don't say, man, I fucked that up. I didn't do that right. If I would have traded with real money there, I would have lost my ass. That's not how you record any observation in your journal. And that's not how you think about it either. You may be watching the tape, just watching and observing and saying, okay, here's an opportunity to see if the market behaves a certain manner here. But when it starts to turn on you, you should not feel any body symptoms, but you're going to be aware of it. I want you to think about it. When you start doing this, your breathing starts to speed up, or you start breathing through your mouth. That's the first indication that you're now feeling stress and anxiety. And if you don't check that, you'll develop that as a habit. And then when you start trading with real money, they will become full-blown panic attacks, which will distract you from watching the trade, even though the trade may still be viable and profitable if you stick with it. But because it's real money and you're watching the ticker of the profit loss, little thing when you put a trade on, it'll tell you what your open profit or loss is. You're going to be fixed on that and not watching the candlesticks. And that's toxic thinking. It's toxic trade management. You're trading your equity and you're not trading price action, which is why you should not have your P&L being shown on the trade while you're first taking your trades, because you want to condition yourself to focus on the price action. Is the chart still delivering? Is it still doing the things you were thinking it was expected to do at the beginning of your trade before you even enter the trade? Because as long as those things are checking the boxes, yes, 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 who gives a shit what the profit is? Because until you close the trade or get stopped out, that number is not the number. It's going to be different. But you're watching it because you're getting a dopamine hit every time it makes a higher equity high. And then you're feeling adrenaline and cortisol when you're in drawdown and it was moving away from the highest point of the open trade equity. The highest point the profit was there. If you would have closed it, then you're going to start thinking, I wish I would have closed that. Are you watching price action when you're doing that? No. But what are you doing? You're feeding your subconscious fear, anxiety, regret, depression. So what are you going to tap into the next time you sit in front of a chart and do another engagement of price action, entering a trade? Even if it's demo, you're going to revert back to that same toxic experience that you just left. So you have to be very guarded on how you manage your perception of yourself, how you manage yourself. You have to keep yourself calm. And there's a lot of things that I'm capable of sharing in terms of managing the stress and managing the anxiety that will initially be there. But it's mainly around your breath, like breathing slow, breathing through your nose, and also self-talk. Because if you have your conscience on talking to yourself positive, saying, okay, this is I want to see this. This is exactly what I'm hoping to see because this is supporting my original trade idea. But even if it turns around, it's okay because I have an idea that if it goes to this threshold, if this was a trade, it would stop me out and it would be minuscule in terms of any damage that would never take me completely out of the game. So I'm focusing on what price is doing right now, and everything is indicating to me that it's still moving in my favor, and every down close candle is supporting a move higher, or every up close candle is supporting lower prices. It still has a target to reach for. There's an inefficiency or relatively below that I'm holding for. I'm submitting to that. I don't need to rush my stop loss. This is not the last trade I'm going to take. Everything I'm doing is I'm doing everything as I'm supposed to. I'm sticking to the process, and it feels good doing that. I have no anxiety about this because everything I'm doing is exactly pre-planned and pre-scripted. I know what this is likely to do, and I'm fulfilling my obligation in following these procedures as I should. There's nothing negative there, is there? You're being objective, you're reinforcing things positively, and you're canceling out any potential for negative stimuli to make you feel regret or fear or anxiety. And that's exactly what professional traders are doing, whether audibly like I just did in the beginning. You need to do it audibly. That's why you have to have a space away from everybody else. You don't want anybody looking at you or listening to you and interrupting your train of thought. If you have animals and pets like I do, they gotta be away from you. Every single time I've allowed my pets in, they've always been a distraction because I'm gonna stop and pet them and love all over them. And if there ain't enough love for them, then they start jumping in my lap, and then all of a sudden I just missed an opportunity to take a partial. And then now what has happened? Man, if I would have took that partial off, where's my thought process? I'm not in the trade anymore. I'm in hindsight. I'm hanging on something I should have done but didn't do. So I end up usually closing the trade, or at least 50% of the trade. That's my mechanism for managing that because I've already been distracted and I could potentially have lost the plot. So to avoid that thing, no interactions, okay? When my door is closed on my office, no one comes knocking, and my wife or children keep my pets downstairs. They're not allowed to come to the door and scratch and let me know that they want to come see me. I'll see them when I'm done working, or when I'm done doing like these live streams or lectures. This is time to focus. And that's how you manage all those things. But you're still gonna feel it, and you're gonna have to cope with it. And it's manageable, but in the beginning, you're going to feel them. You're going to feel all these scary thoughts and feelings and the report card mentality. Am I doing this? Am I going to be successful? The more times you expose yourself to watching price action without pushing a button, the more acclimated you are to eventually get to the point where you can do a demo trade.